What's up, everybody? Steve Butts here at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm joined by my close personal friend, Marty Sleva.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Marty. How are you?
I'm doing really well.
Awesome.
It's kind of hot out here.
It's a little hot, despite being overcast here in San Diego. But we got a lot of games to talk about, so let's not waste any more time. You just came back from Nintendo.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of Nintendo stuff, and it was all the demos we saw at E3, but I didn't get to play a lot of them there, and so I had a lot of hands-on time. And first off, I'm going to talk about Mario 3D World and Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. To me, I had very similar experiences, and both were really positive. I played both in multiplayer settings with complete strangers, and I had a ton of fun. So I saddled up to Mario. There's 4 of us. In case you don't know, it's pretty much like Mario 3D Land for the 3DS, but now it's 4-player multiplayer at the same time, very much reminiscent of Mario 2. And so I settled up with a little kid and then a couple about my age, and we were playing, and it was obvious I played games more than they did, but I still had a complete blast, just running through the world. As soon as we found those cat costumes that became so iconic, we all just went, "Aw!" It was one of those nice moments, and I don't know, when framed in the kind of mindset of gamers becoming bitter, playing this with 3 other people who were just so enthused, to me, I was like, okay, I'm happy with this.
It's like food for your soul, it sounds like.
It is 100%. And yes, I mean, I do want the next Mario. I want to see that Galaxy Leap. And I'm sure it's coming, but in the meantime, I think this is a really cool game. Same thing with Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. A lot of people are kind of bummed out that Retro wasn't working on something new, but to me, I loved the original Donkey Kong Country Returns. And this just, it just brings it into HD, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Retro has a way of displaying kind of a 2D plane, but having so much going on in the background that these levels, even when you're watching them from a distance, just look gorgeous. It's one of those games that just, it's honestly as much fun to watch as it is to play, which that's not the case with a lot of games. FTL, I don't want to watch that.
Aww.
I want to play that.
Yeah.
So the other 2 big games were Platinum's 2 games. So that's The Wonderful 101, which comes out in September, and Bayonetta 2, which is sometime next year. Got to play the first 20 minutes of Wonderful 101, and Greg and Damon played it. They weren't so hot on it. They were kind of confused, which I wasn't confused. But the one bad thing about it, I will say, is that the touchscreen they kind of dropped the ball on the touchscreen. They said draw a line, and I tried to, but there wasn't enough real estate on the screen for me to finish that line. It's good because a lot of these gestures you can do with the right analog stick, but it's just kind of a shame that they fumbled the core conceit of the Wii U. But that being said, the game was a lot of fun. It had a really good Looney Tunes-esque sense of humor. They had a narrator that would pause the action and start telling you the story, and all of a sudden, the characters had to actually freeze in motion, and they would get leg cramps, and they would check their watches.
That's awesome.
And they would get bored and react to what he was saying and lose their position. And this was just the opening 20 minutes, and you could tell that there's a lot of love for not just video games, but just classic cartoons and slapstick comedy. And yeah, that really impressed me.
So my concern with that game, and it's the Nintendo game I'm most looking forward to,
sure,
honestly.
Yeah.
It's one of those launch window games. I can't wait for it. But it seemed a little chaotic. It was a little hard for me to be aware of what was going on. How did you feel about that?
It is chaotic. And honestly, it's you are manning a team of dozens of these little guys. And I guess one of the big fears too is that the camera feels really pulled back.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, it just looks like it's ants fighting each other.
It's just a mob.
It is a mob. It is a mob, but it's a fun mob. And so again, I could see that reservation, and I think we have to hold out judgment until we actually get the game. But that is something that could become a sort of point of concern.
Great. Well, tell us about Bayonetta. What were your impressions there?
I loved it. I thought it was a small slice of game that was very much like the opening of a God of War game. So very cinematic. It was a boss battle. You're on a moving. You start on a jet going through a city like New York, fighting angels, and then the jet crashes, and then you're on a train fighting these things. And I mean, to me, Bayonetta has some of the best combat mechanics of this generation. Honestly, I like God of War. I like DMC. But to me, Bayonetta had this mix of style and substance, where you could just smash buttons and it looks kind of cool, but if you actually learn the core systems, the game becomes this whole another beast. It's almost like a fighting game. The game looks gorgeous. It's crazy. You have your hair demons and really bloody, and you put guys in guillotines, and your hair becomes a dog that eats people, and I don't know, it's just crazy Japanese, a lot of fun. And it's insane that Platinum is developing these 2 games. Wonderful 101, very much a game not geared towards kids, but geared towards the young at heart. Whereas Bayonetta is, I would not want to show my mom. A lot of half-naked women and hair demons.
Your mom's not into hair demons?
Well, she's into one of the two.
Nice, fantastic. So I think Tropical Freeze for me sounds like one of those little pre-mixed cocktails. I think we should get Nintendo working on this, right? A tie-in at the 7-Eleven. So
do they have cocktails at 7-Eleven?
Well, like the little never mind. Anyway, so for more on all of those Nintendo games and everything San Diego Comic-Con, keep it locked to IGN.